I don't know if you just want to start like this. Should we just get going? I suppose, hello, welcome back to Over the Line Football. We've never really thought of an intro for a podcast because we just wanted to just chat about what's going on this weekend. Just before we get into the podcast, we'd just like to remind you that we've done 3 videos uploaded last week. One was surrounding the title race after Liverpool United, which is Mark 2 this weekend. Then we did one on 5 transfers that could happen. And first of all, has one of them happened? Tomori has happened. Why do I feel like another one's like very close to happening? Was it Ali? Ali maybe close to happening?
You told me, is Ali close?
I mean, Ali might be close. Sources. Here we go, confirmed. So a few of them, but there's a few more in there, so please go and check that out. And one that we just uploaded yesterday, which I'm really like, is the resurgence of Atletico Madrid. They're flying high at the top of the league at the moment, so make sure you go and check that out and see why Atletico Madrid are doing so well. But it's all about the cup this weekend, and it's kind of FA Cup season at the moment, isn't it? Because it feels like every couple of weeks there is the next round, especially with this kind of tight schedule. They're going to have to fit it in. There's no replays as well. There's normally replays, so teams who are playing at their own stadium normally can kind of force a replay. Yep. But they've not been able to this weekend. It's a decent weekend of fixtures, really.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's not really many shocks at all. Really, all the sides you thought would win, but the odd one, possibly.
Not many shocks, was there?
We'll talk about them anyway.
Yeah, we're going to run through the fixtures because I don't know. It's getting to that stage where we can start trying to pick out who could go all the way, who could provide a bit more of a shock.
Just more of a general, because obviously we don't know who watched the podcast and who team support, so I'm obviously a bit more knowledgeable on the lower league teams than the football.
Yeah, definitely more knowledgeable than me, which doesn't. I'm just very arrogant. I'm just such a big 6 man. I only know about the big 6. Yeah. But there was some good games this weekend, and I enjoyed the FA Cup because I'm always buzzing for teams that it's like that are lower down the pyramid, getting like big teams like Marine in the last round. I was buzzing for them to get Tottenham, and you know what, like, I know we'll come on to it, but as a City fan the other day, like, it feels alien to say that I was a bit gutted for Cheltenham. Like any other team, I'd have been proper gunning for him to go through. But you know what I mean? It's like I was so conflicted. I was like, yeah, I'm happy City have gone through and City were still in all competitions, but Cheltenham were mint, and it's always nice, especially in these times, to see lower league teams get all the all the revenue and stuff.
I mean,
like that.
Like Chorley's now, it could be Chorley's last game of the season. This, so we're going to speak about it now. So the first game we're going to speak about is obviously the one that was on Friday night, which was Chorley versus Wolves. Funnily enough, Chorley had the better stats. Wolves only had like 2 shots on target. One of them was absolute worldly from the team, and that basically proves the difference in class between Premier League and the 6th tier of English football. But like you were saying about the Marine one, then this could be Chorley's last game of the season. I mean, Chorley in the 6th tier, their season's now been on hold for 2 weeks now. Yeah. The conference is fine, but the conference North and South, they suddenly decided to suspend the season for 2 weeks.
There's been a lot of controversy surrounding the non-league, haven't there? Because they're just all on about kind of null and voiding it, aren't they, for the second season?
I mean, you have to also see, the problem is, you need to play, in theory, they want the season ended by June. Right. And say everything comes back in March, you can need to play about 3 times a week. You need to play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for basically like 3 months.
Imagine Klopp and Pep and that, if they had to do that in the Premier League.
That's what I'm saying to you. So we'll have to essentially
sorry, on Chorley, one thing I think fans have done so well during this FA Cup is they've sold these virtual tickets, and it's made so much money for the club, considering they'd have been packed out at Chorley. It'd have been probably their biggest day in terms of revenue all season. I think it's quite fair to say. And the kind of hype was generated through. Charlie was the one who was singing Adele in the dressing room, right?
Indeed, she was there in the stands as a cutout. Put her as a cutout.
So kind of they went viral with that video. So the amount of people
that every round. So when they beat Wigan, they come back from 2-0 down against Wigan, by the way, to win 3-2. That was a great result. And then I couldn't remember who they beat. Peterborough in the second round. I think they did them 1-0, and then they beat Derby on the 23 side. Yeah. I think it was 2-0 as well. Obviously, lost this one, but to be fair, Charlie had the better. It was quite weird to see, like, look at the back of the stats in the game. You wouldn't think the Wolves are Premier League side, but Charlie, they got relegated from the National League last season. I think this is their first time in the National League for a while as well. So I think they've brought a bottom. I think they did, but they're not a shocking side by any means. Looking like it. But
one thing I can't stand, and I know you can't stand it too, is when commentators make it out like they're like not good
We've
footballers.
been through this at the Marine game at DN Dublin every single time. I mean, if the goalkeeper breathed from Marine, you can cheer him on DN Dublin. So
yeah, it's not like they can't play football. They're still really good footballers. They're still better than your average footballer, considering they're playing National League.
Yeah.
So but again, the quality that Wolves have internationally. It was
Portugal. It's basically Portugal.
Well, yeah, the Portugal national team.
Portugal on 23s versus Chile today. So I mean, what do you expect?
But Wolves went through in the end. I always think with them sort of fixtures, I'd prefer to get like a lower league Premier League club than like a kind of non-league. And I know it seems kind of weird to say, but it's like you kind of know what you're gonna get from like a lower league Premier League table. Like we get Burnley virtually every year, Burnley at home. But like
chance, yeah.
with like lower league clubs like Charlie, I always feel like it's their kind of cup final because it is. You know what I mean? Like if they get, imagine the money they got for going through this round. So what was the next round of 16?
The next round would have been, yeah. I mean, it makes you think now that Lincoln were one round off the semi-finals like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Arsenal, how lucky they got after they got Sutton and then Lincoln to get to the semi-finals.
But some of the clubs have done like really well in domestic cups, like lower league. Like Bristol City not long ago got to the semi-final. Who got to the semi-final? Burton got to the semi-final against City.
And then it's quite funny.
Yeah,
Speak
Oxford
about that now.
well.
You had scored 2 90
and
minute
Burton
wins
are
against us.
rock bottom of League One at the moment.
I mean, I feel like they had scored 2 90th minute winners against us, and then you do Burton 9-0. Makes you think how well we did. But we'll then go on to Southampton Arsenal now, which is they kick off on a Saturday.
I was going to call this a giant killing, but it's not, is it? Because Southampton are better than Arsenal this season.
Very true. I mean, a bit annoying. Gabriel has me fat team miles. You know it doesn't matter, but he's not going to play again now for a while, is he? But they're
out
anyway. Holders, aren't they?
Yeah, so. they've been on a decent run. Arsenal in the league. They've won the last. Well, no, actually, they drew with Crystal Palace, but they're unbeaten in last.
Didn't they? And
they're unbeaten in 5. I know that. So this will be a bit disappointing for him. They've got him again, Southampton, in the league midweek.
Right.
So there was a lot of resting and rotation for that. I know Willian. It's weird to say. £70 million Pepe was their rotation coming in, which feels weird to say. But Saka, Emile Smith Rowe,
their side as well. The rant from troops on Willian as well. But what can you expect?
I
imagine I could rant. I don't think I can take myself to rant that much over a player who's won the Premier League and that kind of stuff. But well, I mean, what can you do in the day? They're out in the FA Cup. They've won the FA Cup. They're not really going to challenge for anything else this season now. So it's surprised me they didn't go anything. I'm surprised Mikel Arteta didn't actually send this, properly go for it, because
the Willian at Chelsea as well is completely different to the Willian at Arsenal.
And that's what I'm saying too. So he's won the Premier League with shows and stuff like that, and he's just not performing. It looked a good transfer on paper, but realistically, they just wasted loads of wages on him. They basically sacked all the dinner ladies at the club.
Yeah, you know what? I was just about to bring that up. As an Arsenal fan, as a kind of football fan, that's the most frustrating thing for me. Is that okay? Look, right, Arsenal are not very good at recruiting, and they haven't been for a number of years now. But the fact that they sacked a lot of staff and furloughed a lot of staff, and then Williams on 200,000 plus a week wages.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
To sit on the bench.
It's just the fact that they got rid of loads of staff, and a day later they signed William. It just didn't sit right straight away, and that was literally the prime. Obviously, it's not prime COVID now, but I'm saying in the first lockdown it was prime. Bang, everything's going full on, and then it's gone like that.
A lot of clubs were getting slagged off, weren't they? I know Tottenham, Liverpool were the same. They furloughed the staff.
They did, but then Liverpool
they had to read do a U-turn.
Liverpool just basically shut themselves, didn't they? Go, oh no, they've realised because Liverpool, obviously up north here is more a lot of labour compared to London down there.
But it's
toys.
So speaking of Southampton, actually, because I'd normally say that this is probably a good chance for them to push on and try and get to a latter rounds of the Cup. But then they're doing so well in the league that there's a potential that they can push on for Europa League places. If not Champions League, I mean...
Could be a double, eh? Premier League and FA Cup, funny on it.
But it's like Southampton, I've never seen Southampton since they had Sadio Mane, etc., do so well in the league.
Yeah.
And obviously all credit kind of goes to Ralph Hasenhüttl and the way he's kind of turned around. You know, we play bingo in our kind of uni group chat.
The next manager be sacked.
No. At what minute will the 9-0 against Leicester be mentioned? And it was mentioned, I think, about the 20th minutes.
There's a Twitter page for it as well. Has the 9-0 been mentioned today? And it goes yes. It's just yes or no. And it comes
literally until Southampton are in League Two, like that'll be mentioned. Like, they got beat 9-0 once of Leicester, but it is weird that you can kind of use that as a point to where they completely turn around. It was very easy for him to kind of sack Ralph Hasenhüttl after that.
Ralph Hasenhüttl was a favourite to be sacked, I think, after that game for all the managers in the Premier League, and everyone's thinking he should be the next manager of any job now.
Do you think he could get a higher up job, maybe like a Leicester, maybe? But saying that Brendan Rodgers
is a higher up job though
than Southampton. Probably I'd say like top 6, but replace obviously Leicester with Arsenal in the top 6.
Maybe. Well,
like Chelsea. Maybe Chelsea job now.
Could be, but there's obviously certain managers that probably will want that more than Ralph Hasenhüttl. I think maybe at the end of the season, I reckon Hasenhüttl will, and then
I think he's committed. I think he's committed to say, see how well he does. But this is a fantastic result because I know they played pretty much full strength apart from Fraser Forster in goal.
But he's not a bad keeper either.
No, he's not. But he's not there starting. But they're going for all competitions. It looks like so.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. Arsenal are out. FA Cup holders are out. What more can you want?
They've had a good run in the FA Cup the last couple of years, though, Arsenal. So they were kind of due one of these, to be honest.
I know.
But fair play to Southampton. It was a scrappy goal, really scrappy, the own goal. Then after that, there wasn't really much quality in the game. But I suppose we said this on a video last week. There's not going to be batterings this season. There's not going to be like your 5-0s, your 4-0s. There's not, because people are knackered and we're playing every couple of days.
I know.
But as you said, there's not many Championship clubs, lower league clubs left now.
No.
With all the Premier League wins this weekend. Barnsley are one of them. Barnsley are enjoying quite a decent spell at the moment.
I mean, they beat a Norwich side who's out Timo Pukki. They still beat us in the midweek with John Hugo scoring for the first time in ages for him. But I mean, he didn't score either for John Hugo. They hit the post late on Norwich as well, but the fullback Styles for Barnsley got the winner in the end. Barnsley one of those teams that just scrap relegation, and all of a sudden they'll get a random result. I mean, first game of last season they beat Fulham. The first game of the season, where's that come from? Like, they beat Fulham and then didn't win in ages, and then suddenly just a resurgence. I mean, to be fair, Barnsley Barnsley got Chelsea in the 5th round, so it's going to be a tough one that anyway. But it's just a weird side that they're very hard to break down, Barnsley, because of the way they play, but they don't get battered. You never see Barnsley lose like 4 or 5-0. You never really ever see it. And if they do lose, it'll be like the 1-0s or the scrappy 1-0 wins they get here. So they set it very well. I'm surprised Norwich didn't win at the end, but obviously, like I said, they got quite a few injuries out. Kieran Dowell made his first appearance back from as well. He came off against the bench against Bristol City, but he came on and got his first appearance back, getting fitness as well. But I think Norwich will be a little bit annoyed, but they can just focus on league now, top of league. Norwich,
they're smashing the Championship, aren't they?
Yeah, I think good result for Barnsley, but I think Norwich would be a little bit upset, especially the fact that they didn't really create an awful lot until late on. So.
A question for you, kind of as like being in the Championship, is it a surprise to you that Norwich look like they kind of bounce back as
no,
quickly?
I mean, they've got the most respected team in the Championship. Everyone knows that already. I mean,
because just they were so awful in the Premiers.
I mean, it's the fact I don't really know. I mean, Cantwell's a very good player. And he's just not really. He started performing more recently. He didn't play the start of the season. Don't know what's happened. I'm
surprised he's not moved. A
lot
of
players were linked to try and get moves out of the club, and they don't.
Max Aaron's another one.
Yeah. Well, Jamal Lewis left the left back, so playing quite a few players. I think they're playing. I don't know if they're playing left back now. I can't remember. They're playing that Sorensen, who's a CDM.
Yes, yeah.
And they've put him left back. He played left back in his life, and he's played there ever since now. So it's fair enough to him. But I mean. Fair play to Barnsley, good result in the end against.
Banging result, and kind of the further they go, the further they believe. Who have they got in the next round?
Chelsea, like I said to you, Barnsley. So like I said then,
so these ties are being played not long from now.
It's midweek as well, so not even on.
So it may depend on how Chelsea
Tuesday,
react
Wednesday,
to
and Thursdays they're playing.
Manager.
The FA Cup.
Oh, is it in midweek?
Yes, I said to you. So they're playing on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in February, I believe. So
yeah, early February. It's like 8th and 9th in there, something like that.
I think 9th, 10th, 11th. I think, but it's all Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because I think.
Right.
Someone's playing on a Monday in the Premier League.
Right.
And then I think they're playing on a Thursday. So whoever that is, whoever's got them is going to be playing on Thursday kind of thing. So
yeah.
Which brings on to Brighton, Blackpool. Brighton 2, Blackpool 1. Absolute scorcher from Bissouma. Goes straight to the top corner. And then your fan favourite, Gary Medine, is going for Blackpool. The Al-Zouti goal was a bit more of a... I thought it was McAllister going, all of a sudden it's a slight deflection of Al-Zouti and it's gone in for 2-1 Brighton, but...
Brighton are a strange team. So one day they look useless and one day they look brilliant. I don't know if it's just with different players. I think Bissouma obviously is much better quality than Brighton. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, but he's not really turned up much recently either. He's not. It's just a lot of the players on the Brighton side don't turn up as often as they should. But like I said, they're a Premier League side. When they need the win, they get the win. But that's they've been in the Premier League for a while now. And they've not been in the relegation zone yet this season. They've just been just above it constantly.
Yeah,
they're constantly just grinding out results like 1-1s. I think. No, Newcastle's the only team's lost to Sheffield United, but I mean Brighton never lost to Sheffield United yet, and
I love how that's the benchmark.
So, yeah, I mean they're free next round. What more do you want? The last 16 in the FA Cup, and he's not in the relegation of the Premier League. So
it's something to look forward to with the fans in it. It's like I know we'll come on to Sheffield United, but it's teams that are kind of fighting relegation. I know it's exciting to kind of being not exciting, but you know what I mean. It's more exciting than just being mid-table to being like a relegation fight. It's something to look forward to. That's kind of like a day off from all the grueling like league schedule. And if they can put a decent run together, they believe more. I mean, they got to the semi-finals last time because they got beat off City in the semi-final of the FA Cup last year.
Was it last year? Was it last year?
Sorry, not last year. Year before.
Yeah, I was going to say so.
So they have done it, and lower league. As I said, lower league teams are doing. I mean, look at the semi-finals 2 years ago. City and Brighton, and then Wolves. Yeah, so. There is chances for these lower league teams because teams in the top half of the table don't take it as seriously as they used to. I mean, Arsenal rotated heavily, Chelsea rotated heavily, City rotated heavily. The only two teams who didn't rotate heavily were Liverpool and United, and they played each other.
And funny enough, they rested players.
And they still rested players. Fernandes, Mane, all not playing. So there is opportunities if there's. I mean, we'll come on to it with a City game, but there's always opportunities against these big teams to kind of hold out.
Yeah.
And then kind of get a sucker punch late on when the players are kind of not interested. So yeah, no, Brighton have got as much chance as anyone to kick on and try and get through to the latter rounds. As have Bristol City.
What a boys! I mean, I think it's the first time we scored more than 2 goals in a game in about 8 months.
I think I'll just I mean, I remember speaking to you in midweek when you lost to Norwich.
I mean.
And I knew you were frustrated at kind of how they're playing. I suppose this is kind of polar opposite.
It's just more to go for class. We're the most inconsistent team in the whole of England. I mean, we'll have 1 shot on target. Well, we had 0 shots on target against Norwich, and then all of a sudden we come out the bag and win 3-0 against Millwall. I mean, Millwall's goalkeeper, we called him Agent Frank Fielding because he was at our club for 5 years. Yeah, it's the goalkeeper for Millwall, and he's just basically chopped down Faraz Jasia in the box. He's going nowhere, Jasia. He's pretty much going out for a goal kick, and Fielding's gone straight through him. Won the penalty, scored it. Faraz Jasia now top goal scorer. Wells, he's claiming a free kick, but I mean, Fielding would have got it, and then he's come off the wall. He's gone completely other side. Frank Fielding's gone nowhere, and it's gone past him. And then the last goal, Wells somehow. It's more see something FIFA. This whole LB wide, he's gone flying in the air and somebody's touched it and banged it in. And that's his 3rd goal of the season, all come in the FA Cup. So it's good to see him on the score sheet again.
Sven, you an exciting player for you?
100%. I mean, Chelsea, I think, with him last year, 2 seasons ago,
You said Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea bid $2 million for him. We turned him down 2 years ago. That
wow.
was 2 years ago. So we have players in the club that always get linked. So like the Lloyd Kelly went to Bournemouth for $15 million. We've got players. Well, we always make a profit. This year we lost £10 million, and that was with the sale of Adam Webster. So we are making profit every season, only bar this season, but obviously because of COVID's hit, everything's a bit more down. But the overall result, we played Max O'Leary again, who obviously the game 2 seasons ago where he saved the penalty, and we won 2-1 as well. That game was it that game? Yeah, I think we won 2-1 that game. We come from 1-0 behind as well. But he's very good, Max O'Leary against Millwall, I'd say, the Den. But overall, I think I'm very happy. I mean, we had 1-on-1 shot on target. What more do you want in the game? We had a shot on target in ages, so I'm just more impressed at the fact that we've actually scored more than 2 goals. And we have 3 different scorers as well. I mean, Faraz Jasia and Wells are both on 6 each now. Semenyo's now on 3.
But I was going to say more so. I know we just talked about like lower league, Premier League clubs, but more so for the Championship clubs. Cup days are like the best days of the year.
I mean, you get more money. The problem is with clubs,
not just financially though, but as a fan. I mean, some of the favourite. I mean, when you came to the Etihad to watch them in the semi-final against it, that was one of your favourite games.
That was Maccabi, yeah. I mean, mainly because the fact that we went to the Etihad, we won up against like the Premier League champions. Just, oh my god, with Dreamland and obviously
exactly, yeah.
End up like 4 rows down, hugging like some guy from Grimsby you don't know of. So it's quite funny actually. But that's just football for you.
That's the club, yeah.
But like I said, the problem is you've got to do well in these competitions, kind of, because the teams that are being relegated from the Premier League get their parachute payments, like this. We come to on admit, like the Swanseas and the Norwiches and all the other teams that have come down. They have loads of money compared to us. We can't spend the money because of what the parachute payments they get. That's why it's called the Holy Grail of the Premier League, because of how much money you get from the Premier League. Huddersfield now get the last parachute payments now. So I reckon after the next season, Huddersfield are going to struggle massively. I mean, they're struggling in the Championship already, Huddersfield, but they're going to struggle a little bit more. Yeah, I'm overall happy. It's the first time we got to the 5th round over 20 years. I think twice we got to the 3rd round. My dad was saying the other day we got to 5th round before, and then we beat Chelsea in the 3rd round. I think it's not 1990, and then we lost to I didn't realise we lost in a second replay to Cambridge. So back when it was, in I think 1990, you could play like 3 replays, like 4 games.
Yeah.
So you play, say you draw the first game, then you play another replay and draw again. You can play another replay, draw again, play another, draw again. But this is like 1990, you can have 4 replays. But we lost to Cambridge 5-1. I think Dean Dublin was playing from then. For Cambridge, and Cambridge were in like the third, 4th division at the time. They had Dean Dublin, it was an upcoming team. They had quite a few good players.
Yeah.
But Sheffield United, 2-1 against Plymouth. They still look very. I mean, they won the game, but Plymouth had a lot of chances near the end, and quite a few near the start of the game as well. But it's just.
Well,
they need these wins.
I know someone who's a Sheffield United correspondent, and he said that
Mr. McDonald.
Yeah, Mr. McDonald, shout out to you. He said that they were pretty dominant, which is kind of unusual for Sheffield United this season. Scoring goals, which is not in Sheffield United this season. So again, it's just acting as a welcome distraction from him for the Premier League. You know, just being in this cup. It's they're looking pretty destined to go down.
It looks like it, yeah.
Unless the league's weird, so maybe they can stage some sort of. It would be quite a miracle comeback now to survive. I'd say. So it is a nice distraction for him, and it's all about kind of building a settled side at the moment for the league and stopping shipping goals, like even to Plymouth. And I know Plymouth I don't know if they just shipping goals left, right, and centre at the moment.
Boys,
yeah.
But I know what you mean. I mean, it's the end of the day. They've not really scoring goals. I think Billy Sharp's got about 3 goals from this season. That's their top goal scorer. I think him and McGoldrick, I think, got 3 or 4 each, and that's it. I mean, you need Ryan Brewster's the absolute giant flop. I saw a video of him against Plymouth. He got a touch outside 18-yard box and fell over the ball. He had 4 touches and fell over the ball, and the Plymouth players wasn't right off with it. I mean, they are struggling, but like I said, they grinded a win against Newcastle. They've actually won the Premier League now. They've got 3 wins in 4 now. So win against Plymouth, another win in the FA Cup as well, and they've got a win against Newcastle. I think they then lost to someone in the Premier League. I can't remember who it was. But they've got 3 wins in 4 now, so they're in a good run. But now they've got the next few games are brutal. They've got Man United and Man City the next 2 games.
Yeah, both away from home.
So, and then they got Chelsea, I think, in that next game as well, and then they obviously play us, so hopefully, fingers crossed, they're in a heads are down. So we're in a battle now. So, but yeah, I mean, end of the day, Sheffield United, I think, they might have to go for it, but they're not really going for it. That's the problem. You can't really say they're making an effort. I mean, they've not got players to go.
They've not got the players to go for it, have they? They've not got flair players. I thought, as I say, I've been very disappointed how Ryan Brewster's played. I think he's had experience and he's just not. They've put a lot of trust in Ryan Brewster, Sheffield United, and he's kind of not repaid the trust at the moment. It's still the old boys who are kind of popping over a few goals.
35-year-old.
And even the win they got against Newcastle, and Newcastle are in dire straits at the moment. Was a penalty, so it weren't like they dominated the game and won the game.
No.
It was a penalty
but
kick.
Then that's the kind of game that Brewster sees, and you script like that 1-0 game where you don't do anything all game, and then you win, and then all of a sudden your boost comes up. Like I said, they won 3 and 4 now. To be fair, but obviously they are bottom of the league with just 5 points.
True.
But if we look at it like that, the past 5 games they've won 3 out of the 5.
Yeah, they're in good form. But speaking of Brewster and his former club, I think we've segued this quite well recently. Swansea City winning 5-1. I mean, absolutely dismantling Nottingham Forest. And speaking of teams that are going down, Swansea look like a team that could be really pushing to go up.
Second now, I mean, Nottingham Forest. I don't know what doing Nottingham Forest. They made 10 changes in the FA Cup. Kashootin decided to make 10. Swansea made 8. And this proves how good the sides are. I mean, 5-1. Swansea, I mean, end of the day, they are looking very good side. Swansea, like, obviously, you got there, because obviously, they play Man City, Swansea in a minute. Obviously, it's behind Harry's big head. You can't really see it. But they are looking very good side, Swansea, and they won't surprise if they go up. They've got good players. They've still got Andre Ayew on their books somehow. I don't know how he's still at the club. But obviously, Matt Grimes has come to the brace as well. He's captain for them now, he is as well. I don't know if it's a one-off game, but he's captain for Swansea. But they've got very good players. They signed as well a lad from, I think, from MLS as well. I don't know what he ended up doing there. But, I mean, they've got very good players. I mean, Knockout got one for Forest. Apart from that, they've blown everyone away.
They had a good spell in the Premier League, and then since they've gone down, they've not really pushed their way to come up. But this season, who's the manager?
The very interesting face. He's another 21 manager thing. I can't remember what his name was.
This is poor. I don't
I know. Well, you know what it is. So you can look yourself if you want to. But he basically get a lot of loan players in here from other clubs. So he's got obviously like Labatrode from Man City.
Steve Cooper.
He's got Steve Cooper. So he's got like
Labatrode. Yeah.
There we go. He's got him from Man City. So he's been playing a bit.
He's had a few injuries.
Morgan Gibbs-White's now injured as well. So he's playing quite good. He's now injured. Obviously, we've recalled Casey Palmer from Swansea as well. But obviously, Corey Smith playing for Swansea, come from us as well. Swansea fans are raving about him. We don't know how we let him go on a free, which is he's club legend at Bristol City. So the fact he's gone like one of our rivals, like Derby rivals as well, Swansea, is a bit annoying. But he's just playing out his skin there as well. So Swansea now they're playing Man City. They're a great tough tie. Very
they're
tough
at home
tie
as well. So.
Yeah, well, it happened last time, wasn't it? Man City Swansea.
Yeah,
Bertrand Steen and obviously Aguero scored an offside goal to win at the end, didn't he? But obviously it's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be an easy tie, I say that. So we'll have to see that one. But next one we're gonna go for after this is the FA Cup game on Saturday. It was West Ham 4, Doncaster 0. David Moyes has said himself.
Can we just have a minute to praise David Moyes? And I never thought I'd say that in my life. But since he's come back in at West Ham, he's been fantastic, and he's turned that team around. And I know they've got really good players at their disposal, but it's all right saying that. This team, I mean, Chelsea have got £220 million worth of talent there, and they've not been able to get it together. But West Ham, for a team that I think many will have tipped for fighting relegation, are right up there in the top half, pushing towards the top of the table rather than going back down the other way.
David Moyes just came out, didn't he? I think just before they played Stockport County when they beat in the third round. They said David Moyes said we've got a very good chance of getting quite far in this competition this year, and he's not going to lie, he's got
put some respect on his name. You know what it is, right? He's never going to be an elite manager. He's never going to manage like he did with Manchester United. He's never going to manage, but for Premier League clubs, he's one of the best you can get. Because he's just fantastic. It's the same with Rodgers. I always have this debate with Rodgers: is he an elite manager or is he a good manager? And I think the difference between elite managers is getting it over the line. Right. So like with Klopp, his thing was always finals, but recently he's got it over the line with Liverpool. Yeah. Pep obviously the same. Mourinho always does it. All the top managers. But like the difference between a good and an elite manager is their ability to get it over the line. Yeah. Rodgers couldn't get it over the line with Liverpool in that season, but he's doing extremely, extremely well with Leicester. So it might change the season. But sorry, back on Moyes, I know I segued a tiny bit there. He's doing fantastically well with these kind of mid-table Premier League sides, just like he did with Everton. Yeah. And he's so perfect for them sorts of. I know it's boring. He's not like a flashy. He's not a Rafa Benitez. He's not like a flashy manager. But every person that I spoke to that supports West Ham has said that they're really happy with the way they played. They've got an exciting core. Declan Rice. Fornell's came into play well. They've got Ben Rama who can come off the bench.
Jared Bowen as well, very good
player. Antonio's a bit hard cold, but since he's come back in, he's been scoring goals. They've got such an exciting core with kind of experienced backline with Craig Dawson, and then they've got Fabianski, who's a fantastic goalkeeper. They've got exciting fullbacks. They're a really, really good side, and they will cause a lot of teams problems. And I do think that this year could be a year where they put a solid FA Cup run. I know they're at the round of 16 now, but I still think they could cause an upset at Old Trafford. I really could do.
I wouldn't surprise me if Moyes in his old stomping ground trying to make a scene.
True. It feels kind of poetic. It depends on like what teams are put out, etc. But I'm really impressed with West Ham this season. And you know what? I remember when City went there at the start of the season and they drew West Ham, and I was annoyed, and I'm still annoyed to this day because I still think City should beat West Ham. But seeing how they've progressed as a team, I'm so impressed. And I never thought I'd say that about David Moyes because I thought since United he'd kind of go downhill. He made that big move, and I thought that kind of this is the pinnacle of Moyes' managerial career. And it didn't work out for him. I know United didn't give him much time, but since he's come back to West Ham, he's been fantastic, and kind of all credit to him.
Speaking of Man City, Cheltenham 1, Man City 3.
Yes, looking at that scoreline, you'd think kind of City in second gear. Yeah. City were in first gear. If anything, City were in reverse. That scoreline. Do you know what the most disappointing thing I'd say from a City fan's perspective? Kind of was just. Actually, should we just kind of give them a run? Basically, Cheltenham took the lead with 20 minutes to go. It was, like I'd said...
30 minutes ago, I think it was 50.
Oh, yeah. Later-ish in the game. I said earlier in the podcast, I spoke about these smaller sides, if they in the FA Cup, they have the ability to hold out until a certain point, then kind of get a goal and a smash and grab. And that felt so much like it. Like when May scored, I was thinking that could be curtains, because it's such a... Every FA Cup upset that I see, I never see a team batter someone. It's always a smash and grab. Can you think of any FA Cup upsets? Maybe Bradford with Chelsea. But
that was like a 4-3 or something. That was a ridiculous game, that.
But it's always been like a 1-0 smash and grab.
I know.
And it kind of felt that way. Obviously, City's class kind of took hold in the last 10 minutes. But City were... And the thing that's most disappointing for a City fan is that kind of second rotated 11. The only one who showed any sort of promise to be a regular starter is Phil Foden, and he is a regular starter at the moment.
Top goal scorer as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's top scorer. Not many with.
Do you think
with Phil?
He's gonna fill in for De Bruyne? But I know Pep's come out and said he doesn't want to compare Foden to De Bruyne because they're two completely different players. But do you think that Foden's now going to need to start every game no matter what?
I hate this narrative, right? And I've been Pep's biggest critic at some point, but I hate this narrative that's like, when someone posts something about Phil Foden do well, it's like, well, I wish he was at another club because he'd start regular. But he does start regularly for City. He's probably, apart from like the likes of obviously Edison and Ruben Diaz, he's probably got one of the most minutes for City this season. Pep has managed him perfectly. You know, it was quite easy to get an exciting youngster than just throw him into the starting. Look, I don't want to compare him to other players, right? But Mason Greenwood, who scored evidently last night, he's been thrown into the starting lineup on a regular occurrence now, and he's not performing to the levels we know Greenwood can. Pep has brought Foden through slowly but surely, integrated him into the team, and now he looks like one of the best players. I mean, he was the way, I know it was against Cheltenham, but the way he kind of glides past players. He's 20 years old. Honestly, he can be whatever he wants to be in football. He's got the right mindset. He's got the right teachers. He's got the right players around him. He can be England captain. He can be Man City captain. He can be one of the best players in the world if he applied himself, and I've got no doubts that he would be. Whether he's a replacement for De Bruyne in terms of while De Bruyne is injured is another question, because Pep likes to play Foden on the left. And then obviously Gundogan's been brilliant in the central, so it depends who he plays there. It'd be Bernardo or it'd be Foden, so it depends who he picks. But it's the midfielders who are kind of showing up for City at the moment, and you know, it was no surprise when he popped up with the equaliser. No matter the quality of the ball, etc., he's always in them positions. And then as soon as it went to 1-1, I didn't think for 1 minute it was going to extra time. I knew City would get, and you know, Jesus scored, and then Torres finished it off later on. But the most disappointing thing I'd say is that a lot of the players who are not fringe players, but not starters for the team, like Mahrez, Gabriel Jesus, who else? Mendy, they didn't really show like any sort of promise to come back into the team. So that would be the most disappointing for me. But I would like to say all credit to Cheltenham, because I thought Cheltenham were, and it's not even like oh, you know, unlucky you've got this far. They were fantastic, and they found a strength, and they worked on the strength with that long throw in. And it wasn't just that. I didn't think, obviously from when they conceded they did, but when they scored, sorry, they did. I didn't think at one time they had like 11 men behind the ball. They were always looking to counter attack at pace. They were comfortable committing bodies forward. They were always, that May up front was fantastic, and he was in Laporte and Garcia's face all the time.
It always felt like to me that Man City didn't do really the research against Cheltenham. To me, thought it was a walkover. I mean, it got to the 60th minute where they were 1-0 up Cheltenham, and Pep Guardiola and a lot of the Man City players were trying to take a long throw at Boza, and he's just getting Boza's ear, and he's walking in front of Boza, and a lot of substitutes trying to get, because they know that's their weapon. They're doing really well. So the fact that I'm having to get in the league to centre half's ear to say stop doing that or trying to get in his head, it's just makes it wasn't just
the long throw-ins. He was fantastic in defending.
I mean, the blocking
that
as well.
block, that's one of the best blocks I've ever seen. The way he flicks it,
I know,
to get it over the bar.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they look like worried because of the fact that he's getting in his ear, and I just don't think they did research. People forget that if you're in the cup, you're in it to win it, no matter what. You're not there to park behind the bus like a Burnley against Man City.
Well, they said it before the game. Cheltenham said it was their biggest game in their 25 year history.
This is the first time you've ever played them. It was ever.
And they said it was their biggest game in the hundreds, so they're going to want it 10 times more than City. That's going to happen. But normally what happens in these sort of games is that the first 25 minutes they're full on at it, and then City kind of knacker them out and score 2 or 3 goals like they have done in the past. But the Cheltenham kept that up for 90 minutes, like the non-stop. And I mean, I don't want to like be so patronising and say they did themselves proud, but they did, because they were fantastic on and off the ball. And they were very, very, very unlucky not to go through, and I think that kind of speaks volumes about how well they played.
Speaking of 3-1, it finished Chelsea 3, Luton Town 1. Tammy Abraham hat-trick. I felt like the goal Chelsea did concede was a certain goalkeeper's fault again, which he knows who he is. Can we just kind of preface this, because this is obviously probably going to go out after, but Frank Lampard's gone. Yes.
We're filming this just kind of for a time on Monday morning, and it literally has just broken an hour ago that Chelsea is sacking Lampard today on Monday. So if this goes out, whether Tuesday, Wednesday, he's probably gone by this point if them reports are true. What do you make of that? What do you make of Lampard?
We all knew it was coming because we've all said before he's not the amount of money he spent. The players aren't performing, but it's just if another manager comes in now and the players do perform. He could just be Lampard might be in trouble. But
do you think he took the step up far too early?
I don't think he did. No, I think he took it at the right time. There's a job open at Chelsea, and obviously, like you said, we said before in a private chat before. I think it was yesterday. We were saying, would you want company to manage your club and then tell the company out and that kind of stuff? It's just
no.
Do you want your icon to be told his chances?
It's tough, isn't it? It's tough as a Chelsea fan at the moment because it'd be like, oh, do we want to slag, one of our best players, if not the best player we've ever had off? No, not really. But he's not. And do you know what kind of summed it up to me? Did you see the clip of him snapping at that reporter the other day in the press conference? The Athletic reporter. No. So basically, I need to send it to you. Basically, they're in the press conference before this game, and the reporter asked him, you're going through a bit of a tough period at the moment. Mm-hmm. How good is it to have Peter Cech round, who's been there through the both good and the bad times? And how good is it for the experience, especially for the younger players? And he goes, well, I've got the younger players, and the players in general don't read your articles because they're always so negative. It'd kill the confidence and stuff. And then I listened to another video that said that Lampard says he doesn't read any of the articles, so he obviously has been reading them this week. So it was just such a snidey comment. There was no need for him to make
very
it.
Very conscious, I feel like.
Yeah, but it felt like a man that was under pressure, and I think that as a man who... And this weekend, he didn't seem... Like, I was watching it on the touchline, alright, he was happy that he scored, but he seemed pretty down. It felt like a man who knew he was kind of on the brink. And a result against Luton is not going to change it, because he's got a run of games now, which I think is quite tough as well. I don't think he's got a run of easy games. Mm-hmm. So, I think... To sort of save the season, Chelsea have kind of bit the bullet and hoped that a new manager come in. Honestly, I could probably put good money on that it'd be Thomas Tuchel. He's like him or Rafa Benitez. They're the only two managers available at the moment, really, that you can think of, unless you can think of anyone different. Allegri maybe. But he...
We'll talk about the game briefly as well.
Might as well.
Tammy Abraham.
Tammy Abraham, fantastic. I'm a big fan of Tammy Abraham. He scored goals in every... Was it perfect hat trick?
No,
scored with his head in the second one, and then
two right-footed. It was
two right-footed. Okay,
one
but
yeah.
We spoke about Chelsea in the original? No, we didn't talk about Chelsea in the original podcast. When did we talk about the striking options?
It
was the original podcast?
Yeah, because we said about Giroud is a very, very good player, but Werner's not carrying his weight because you've got a managed fantasy team. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, I've bit the bullet, by the way, with Werner. I've took him out. I've also took De Bruyne out. Obviously, put Fernandes in. So Fernandes needs to perform for me now, please.
I've took Vardy out and put Kane in.
Yeah, I didn't have enough money to take Vardy out, so I've put him on the bench. I brought in Aaron Cresswell actually for Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
I made 3 changes. I put Stones, Souček, and Kane.
Stones, sorry, we've just completely got off topic then. But Tammy Abraham, fantastic striker, but we all knew he was a fantastic striker.
Will a penalty again? That was quite funny.
Will the new manager come in, and will it be Jody Morris that'll take over for a while? I don't know if it's just because he's Frank's left-hand man. He'd go with him.
Well, I mean, no matter what, I think it's just the manager of the club always stays unless the board have come out and said everyone's sacked, but you don't normally do. They only say
just because Frank's brought his team with Jody Morris, I don't know if Jody Morris goes. When Poch went, like all these right-hand men went with him with Tottenham, so I don't know if there's like a set.
What I'm saying, they didn't go straight away until Frank finds a new job. He won't leave.
Do you think?
Yeah, that's what happens to all clubs. So they're on the books until like.
Well, the Tottenham lads went with him.
But that's because, I think they've come out and said everyone wants to go. This one, I think what I'm saying is Frank's going.
Maybe Jody Morris then. I'm not sure how it works in terms of Chelsea. But it depends how the manager sees it. Will he want to continue trying with Werner? I know Werner missed a penalty.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before,
Bless him, he cannot catch a break. Werner missed a penalty. So it depends who they want to bring in. Do they want to bring in Abraham or Giroud? It all depends on how they want to play. Mm-hmm. But I'm always impressed with Abraham. I think he's a fantastic striker.
100%. I mean, he did very well for us. He got our player of the season when he was on loan to us, I think, like 4 years ago. So, I mean, 100% a great player. There's no doubt about his talent. It's just a shame he's not the match striker he's got in England at the moment. Yeah, he's going to be struggling for him to start for the England side, which is quite annoying. And the fact that
I think they forget, Chelsea fans, maybe they don't, that he did so well for him last season to get him into the top 4. Like when they had no when they had a transfer ban, and they're playing Mount, Abraham, all these youngsters that Lampard had worked with Derby. It kind of shown how like working with players for a certain amount of time kind of builds a bit more of a, that they were in better form last season because Frank had worked with Tammy, he'd worked with,
I think as well, cause
Mason Mount.
Frank didn't feel under pressure at all last season. Well, this season I think like because of the signings he's made, he's felt under pressure that those players have to perform.
But does that not just show that maybe Frank deserved the rest of this season and then the kind of start of the new season to see how much the players had gelled? Because maybe next season Werner turns it on.
You are talking about Roman Abramovich here, though, aren't you? The big Russian.
Yeah. Well, they've got to. Maybe they don't. I was going to say they've got to stop this cycle at some point of just rotating managers, but maybe they don't because it works for them. I suppose so.
But at the end of the day,
but look at sorry to interrupt, but I'm just saying that. Look at Solskjaer, right? And I'm not Solskjaer's biggest fan. I've said on multiple occasions, and that's not just because I'm a City fan. But when they got knocked out of the Champions League, on multiple occasions, Solskjaer has been on the brink of second. It looks inevitable. But United have stuck with him and kept faith. And look where they are now, the top of the Premier League. They're in the next round of the FA Cup. They got to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. I know they're in the Europa League, but they've stuck with him and they've kept faith with him. And because he's been working with that squad now for nearly 2 years, he's starting to find a settled side. He seems to have found like a decent CDM in McTominay with Fred there. Pogba's starting to come into his own. Obviously, Fernandes is kind of like a one-man band at the moment. But, he's starting to find a side that he trusts. Luke Shaw, who thought when Alex Telles came in that Luke Shaw would be the starting left-back, but he's been brilliant.
I mean, I feel like it's been like I know before the season he'd go like you stand up player and he's most surprising, but I think he's been the most surprising player in the Premier League, Luke Shaw. I mean,
I agree.
I was saying about Lampard, then how tight the Premier League table is. All they need to do is win 5 games in a row. Chelsea, and they're up in second. That's how close the Premier League is.
Yeah, season. Of course, yeah.
I was saying that last season they could be like 10th or something if they could be for what's happened in the last season and stuff like that. But now I'm going to another 3-1 result.
Yeah, let's fly through the rest of the game so we can make our
Brentford
predictions.
1, Leicester 3. I mean, Leicester side, which is playing. You forget how good Leicester is. So, this is Leicester's second team, and they got Chinkundu, Champions League player last season, playing for Roman. Tielemans was obviously first team, but they're playing quite a few second team string players.
Brentford a decent side, and they scored a quite scrappy opener.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but Leicester dispatched them very easily.
I think
Maddison is on fire.
Brentford as well. They put quite a few. I think they had quite a few changes as well to the midweek game as well. So I think Brentford are more as well. Not too well about going out this cup. I think they're more worried about getting promotion because they've been under pressure. I think recently to get promoted because of how good their squad is. So I feel like they're not going to be too affected by going out on this, but they wouldn't have said no to winning Leicester, obviously. So, but I have to say, I mean, Leicester again. Like Gary Lineker said, it's a joke in the Man United Liverpool game. They could win a double Leicester. Yeah. So
absolutely, I still don't think we should count them out of the title. Well, we can't count them out of the title race. But I think everyone's so quick to be like, oh, it's City, Liverpool, and United, when Leicester are just kind of, and I think they prefer that to do the business kind of under the radar.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But that they quite easily dispatched of Brentford, as Burnley quite easily dispatched of Fulham, which is a big surprise. But Burnley are in really good form at the moment. You know, beating Liverpool at Anfield, that still baffles my mind.
Last time you did that?
What?
When was the last time you did that? Man City.
City beat Liverpool at Anfield 2003. Nicholas Anelka.
Jesus.
Oh no, might have got the year wrong, but I know it was Anelka last minute winner. But the last time someone won at Anfield was what? Was it? Who was it? Was it
United?
Was it United? Wow, that matter.
I think
over so. Wow. And I know Burnley have, like Dyche just said it after the game. He said they were unlucky last year because they hit the bar with a couple of minutes to go to win the game, and they've got points out of there.
But Liverpool last season were getting those results with scrappy 1-0 wins. This season it's not come from. Which if you want to talk about them now,
yeah, let's talk about United and Liverpool, which is obviously the standout fixture, and because it wasn't in the league, it was actually a decent game of football to watch.
I actually really enjoyed it. I thought, to be fair to Salah, he's got 2 good goals. To be fair, I felt like each stage Liverpool could win the game. I thought, Man United could win this game. Now, actually, you couldn't really tell what was going on, how he was going to win the game, and then obviously.
Is it fair to say I thought Liverpool were quite dominant throughout?
I did feel, as I said, I think when they went 1-0 at Liverpool, I thought, did that win this game? And then Man United scored 2, and I thought, Man United's going to win this game. Now, when Liverpool got the equaliser, I thought, look, that's it, Liverpool 100% going to win this game.
Right, so let's kind of finish off. We've still got Wickham and Spurs to play that tonight, and Bournemouth, Crawley.
Yeah. So
we've still got 2 games to play. But just kind of touch on just before we go, Everton battered Sheffield Wednesday pretty obviously. Sheffield Wednesday are in dire straits. They've had 3 managers so far this season.
I mean, yeah, they have, but as I said, they're out. I don't think they're bottom of the league now. They started with -9 as well.
So they've had Monk, Pulis, and now who's the manager now? I can't remember. But they've had Monk.
No one's in yet. It's just a manager who's on a few of this, so that's.
But less said about Sheffield Wednesday than about Everton. Good chance for them to progress.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing we wanted to do just before we wrap this up is make our predictions because, if we get it right, we look like geniuses. So this is the 5th round. I didn't even realise until you told me that this 5th round is the round of 16.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, 5th. Yeah, 5th round.
Yeah, you said round 16, right? There's this 16. Yeah, there's 8 games, so 16. First game is Leicester versus Brighton. That's a good tie. That really good tie.
I'm going 3-0 Leicester.
All right, you think that's convincing? I'll go 1-0 Leicester. I do think Leicester will win. And I don't think Leicester will rotate now they're later in the competition. I think there'll be a few, but I think
it's because it's midweek, so it might be a little bit more.
One thing I would like to say, it'd be interesting to see how they cope without Vardy for a couple of weeks.
I've seen today. Seen them getting that game against Brentford. 3 goals. Madison probably.
Yeah, Brentford a bit different. And talking in terms of Premier League, be interesting to see how they cope without Vardy.
Swansea, Man City.
I think City nick it.
I reckon 3-2 Man City.
Depends who City play in defence. 2-1 City. But I'd say keep an eye on this one. That one could be the upset.
Everton. We'll say Spurs hypothetically. So Everton Spurs.
Or Wickham or Tottenham. If Wickham surprisingly go through Everton, batter him again 3-0. But if Tottenham, Everton,
I still reckon Everton will beat Spurs personally.
I'm going to go 1-1.
I'm going to go 1-0 Everton.
And then Tottenham nick it 2-1 in extra time.
Barnsley Chelsea.
I think this is the most standard Chelsea win you'll get. 2-3-0.
I'm going Chelsea penalties.
Chelsea on penalties.
I think Barnsley at home, not. I don't say it's an easy because it's an easy place, but like I just think previously they grind out those results.
New managers are being there. New manager bounce. He might have picked up a few results in the Premier League. I think it could be a kind of a walkover for him, but that's my prediction. Wolves versus Southampton. Wow, that's a fixture.
Wolves aren't playing as well as they did the past 3 seasons of the Premier League, so I reckon Southampton might win this one like 2 or 3-0. But like I said,
wow,
Wolves can pick up the game if they really want to.
I'm gonna go Wolves 1-0. I think Wolves win this one. Here we go. Sheffield United, Bristol City.
I generally think we might beat Sheffield United. I'm gonna go for a 1-0, and I reckon it'll be like a 75th minute winner from like the big Famara Jeju. But
Bristol City win.
Yeah, Bristol City win. I reckon. If Sheffield United do win, then fair enough. That could really change their season.
I'm gonna really upset you and go 3-0 Sheffield United.
Oh, you muppet. Oh, that's fair enough, but I mean, we've really got a chance to get to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So
I mean, it depends. Bristol City could be in banging form then, but as you said, they've not been scoring a lot recently. So I just think Sheffield United.
That's why I'm fair 1-0. I think they're not going to score loads past them.
True. United at West Ham. This is at Old Trafford. Again, I'm going to go first with this one because I think, apart from Swansea and City, I think this could be the upset. I'm going to call West Ham nick it 2-1.
I'm going to go 2-1 Man United. I think West Ham might take the lead. And then Man United 2.
That could be another option.
And then Burnley versus Bournemouth or Crawley. We'll say Bournemouth. We'll say both if you want. I think Burnley will beat both the sides anyway, personally. But I felt more like the Burnley-Bournemouth game is probably more likely one.
I'm going to go 2-0 Burnley.
Yeah,
I just said there's never going to be any batterings.
The thing is, it's never going to be an easy tie in the FA Cup either. So you can't. It's not a free prediction saying it's going to be definitely Bournemouth, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a 2-0. I think.
And that'd be an interesting quarter final. There's still a lot of big teams left in there.
It could be. I mean, it could be 8.
There still could be Leicester.
So it could be Leicester,
City,
Man City,
Tottenham.
Everton, Chelsea, and it could be Wolves. Southampton.
Could be Leicester City, Tottenham, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Wolves. Either one of these two would be fine.
Yeah.
United and Burnley.
So we could be like the Championship team.
I still
left.
think
could be like the Championship team left.
I still think Burnley are only in the cup to get Man City at home in the quarterfinals. Still going to happen. Watch this space.
I mean, I'd rather take Burnley. I think there's an easy team left out there. But thank you guys. This is the FA Cup review, whatever. Yeah, I love the FA Cup. I'm always really annoyed when managers disrespect the FA Cup.
Obviously, my allegiances lie with the Carabao, but I still love cup competitions because I always feel like some top managers fall down not winning cups and keeping them in a winning mentality going. But like I said before, make sure you go and check out all the previous videos. There's no really kind of time limit on them.
No.
Atletico Madrid won again yesterday. So Atletico were 10 points clear of Barca, 7 points clear of Real Madrid. So go and check out that video. We give a lot of praise to Diego Simeone, a lot of praise to the players, Luis Suarez in particular, João Felix. Top 5 transfers that could happen this January. That was on Wednesday. We've got some content lined up for you this week. Keep in touch with our Twitter page, TikTok, that'll all be down below, as is our personal Twitters if you fancy following us. And yeah, we will see you in the next video. See you later.